Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Howard's History. We're going to be learning about exploring and colonizing North America today, particularly the countries of Spain, France, and England. I'd like to send a special shout out to my sister Jeanette, brother-in-law Wayne, who told me they're going to cozy up with a bowl of popcorn and watch this over and over again, just like I'm sure you're going to. Now, let's start first by turning our learning log sideways and copying the chart that you see in front of you on your page. We're going to use this chart today to organize our information and answer this question. How are the Spanish, French, and British alike and different when it comes to colonizing North America? We're looking for similarities and differences. Now, I don't want you to believe that when the Spanish or the French or the English got here, they found an uninhabited land. That's not true. There have been Native Americans living here for thousands of years. Some people say 14 to 30,000 years ago they first arrived. Many of them came across a land bridge that was created during the last ice age when the ocean levels actually sank and land was exposed. They followed animals south into North America, descending southward and becoming several hundred different groups of Native American people. So when the Spanish and the French and the English got here, they found the land already inhabited. Matter of fact, the English, for one, had been trading with the Native Americans as they came and fished the boundary waters off the Atlantic coast. Now, from the map that you see in front of you, you can tell that the Spanish tended to settle in the southern part of North America, and traditionally what is today the Caribbean and Mexico. The French in the north and Canada, and then the English along the Atlantic coast. The Spanish, being the first to establish a cycle of conquest and colonization, followed this pattern. First, they sent in explorers to map the land, then conquistadores to conquer the people, missionaries to convert them into Christianity, and they established towns and cities so that these good converts to Christianity would become citizens of Spain. In the meantime, however, they found out that many of these Native Americans did not want to be good citizens of Spain. Unfortunately, they died rather quickly of diseases, and therefore we start in the Spanish colonies importing slaves from Africa that they used to do most of their work. Now, the Spanish believed in the 3 G's, God, gold, and glory. That is, find gold so you can be rich, achieve glory by conquering the people, and lastly, God to Christianize the natives. Here you can see that Spain, New Spain as it's known in the New World, settled traditionally along the coastline of North America in the south, in the west, and in South America. That's why we today find many Spanish-speaking countries located in these very same places. The French, they were a little different. They wanted to move northward into what we traditionally think of as Canada today, settling around Quebec and Montreal area along the St. Lawrence River in the interior of North America. They came primarily to establish a trade route. They were after a source of fur that was used to make hats and coats and things that were very popular fashion-wise. And they therefore used the Native Americans as allies. These allies helped them trap the fur-bearing animals. They tended not to farm because the soil was different in Canada. It was rocky, and you couldn't very well grow a crop on poor soil. So they weren't really farmers. They were more or less traders. They did try to convert the Native Americans to Christianity, however. Here we see their fur-bearing animal. They were after the beaver. Now, a beaver's fur makes an excellent hat or coat because not only is it soft and thick, but it's also to a degree water repellent. The English, they settled along the Atlantic seaboard. Their first colony, Roanoke, was a failure. In fact, no one's sure what happened to the people who settled there. That's why it's sometimes called the Lost Colony. The first permanent English settlement of Jamestown, settled in 1607, started out kind of rough. We weren't sure it was going to be successful, but eventually they started growing tobacco, and this proves to be the gold that the Spanish had, only they're growing tobacco, and that's how they're making their money. They got a late start, the English did, but they caught up rather quickly. They learned that if you push the Native Americans off their land, rather than convert them, you could take over a lot faster. And keep in mind, these colonies were founded for profit and a few for religious freedom, and we'll talk about those later next week. Here you'll see a map that shows you again where they settled. The French are in purple, the English are in yellow, and New Spain is in that funky kind of green color. Now would be a good time, if you wanted to pause the video, because you'll see I've put the chart up for you so that you can get an idea of what should have been written on their chart. Remember, as you watch these videos, it's always okay to pause them. You don't have to keep watching them. Now we're going to talk about Columbian Exchange. Columbian Exchange happens with Columbus in 1492. Columbus arrives from the old world, Europe, and he brings things with them, plants and animals, such as the horse, that become a part of now North America. Then when he leaves, he takes back to Europe things from North America. This exchange of plants, animals, ideas becomes Columbian Exchange, and it actually is the beginning of the trade routes that are established. Might want to write down a couple of these. For those of you who didn't learn this in elementary, one of the most famous things, pizza. Pizza cannot happen for Italy until they bring back the tomato from the New World. So all of you that associate pizza and spaghetti sauce with Italy, hey, couldn't have happened without Columbian Exchange. So you might want to jot a few of these down in your notebook, your learning log, under Columbian Exchange, just so that you understand what it is. Don't forget, exchange of plants, animals, people from one continent to the other. Remember that the New World is North America, the Old World is Europe. This has been a Smarty Cat production.